Big, luxurious, and expensive. That's the current model of the American pickup trucks. And if anyone is going to throw out $50,000 or more for a truck, it wouldn't be weird for them to expect that the reliability and functionality of the truck match the price, right? Well, guess what? Mechanics across the country have recently begun to raise alarms about car models that are putting their owners in a financial crisis thanks to catastrophic failures that the manufacturers have refused to acknowledge. Now, these are not just minor inconveniences. We are talking about dollar-draining maintenance that has frustrated thousands of car owners so much that they had to form a community. From Hemi-Tick, which signals the death of your car engine, collapsed litters that spread metal shavings through oil systems, spark plugs that fire out of cylinder heads like bullets, and failed emission systems that cost $15,000 to fix. These car failures have financially drained owners. But what's even worse is the fact that the manufacturers are very much aware about these car failures, yet they keep on selling them year after year. That's why we decided to make this video to show you 5 pickup trucks mechanics are warning people about. We will begin with number 5. Chevrolet Silverado 1500, models 2005 to 2015. Back in the mid-2000s, anyone who wanted to get a truck that looked tough, pulled heavy, and had that deep rumble from a V8 would most likely choose a Chevrolet Silverado 1500 with the 5.3-liter small block. General Motors marketed this truck as the dream truck for every man, every hard-working rancher, every contractor, and basically anyone who needed a reliable truck that could haul hay one day and tow a boat the next. And it worked. All across town in America, the Silverado was as common as a loaf of bread. But what GM failed to mention in its marketing ads was that the Chevrolet Silverado had a couple of problems that eventually made owning one a punishment. This was especially true for the 2005 to 2015 models. These models had the brand's most notorious mechanical gamble, known as the Active Fuel Management System. On paper, it made sense. This system aimed to save fuel by shutting down cylinders during light loads. However, the reality was nowhere close. Weak hydraulic lifters collapsed and destroyed camshafts. So, instead of an innovation which would save fuel, it produced the dreaded tick-tick sound under the hood, which cost a substantial amount of money to fix. Owners with the 2005 to 2015 models reported that once the lifter began to fail, the engines lost power, stumbled on acceleration, and often triggered a check engine light. Under scans, the codes revealed misfires, uneven compression, or outright cylinder deactivation failures. But the worst part is the secondary damage. Once the lifter collapses, it sheds metal shavings into the oil, thereby circulating tiny razors through the block. The result is that cam lobes get scarred, bearings get chewed up, and basically the entire engine is in trouble. For most owners who are not aware of these failures, the repair bill always comes as a shock. They walk into dealerships thinking their car needs a little tune-up, which won't cost more than a couple hundreds of dollars. But after repairs, they are handed a bill worth $7,000. And if the failure was ignored for too long, they would have no choice but to pay for a full engine replacement, which cost about $15,000. Think about that. What was supposed to be an innovation to save fuel turned out to be an expensive nightmare for truck owners. But that's not all. Many Silverado owners also have to deal with oil consumption issues, thanks to GM's flawed design, which lets oil slip past piston rings. It would shock you to know that Silverado trucks often burn a quart every 1,000 miles, forcing owners to haul spare oil for every drive. Additionally, engines sometimes seized from running dry, and the solution offered by dealerships to this problem range from oil plan deflectors to software updates, which doesn't really do much. Now, while it's not every Silverado model from these years that failed, the data shows that enough failed so much that the reputation of the 2005 to 2007-2015 models with the 5.3 took a massive hit. Not surprisingly, the Consumer Report gave the 2005 model a reliability score of 40 out of 100. With this, it's easy to see why mechanics are advising buyers not to buy these models unless they come with a full service history or proof that the active fuel management system has been deleted or upgraded. Next up is the Ram 1500, models 2013 to 2020. The first thing that comes to mind when you see this car is power. From the bold grille to the muscular stance and the thunderous roar of the 5.7-liter Hemi 5.8, everything about the Ram 1500 screams American power. No wonder for decades, the Hemi name had a kind of legendary status. It was the engine of muscle cars and tough work trucks. Anyone who got this car believed they were getting a price of automotive history. Unfortunately, people who bought the 2013 to 2020 models were hit with a startling truth: the Hemi was no longer the legendary engine it used to be. The 2013 to 2020 models became a source of frustration for buyers, outrageous repair bills, and a noise so dreaded it became known as the Hemi tick. The dreaded Hemi tick was the dark signal that the lifters and camshafts were grinding apart. It begins as a faint click, but eventually grows into engine death, spreading metal debris throughout the oil system. To repairs, owners needed to spend thousands of dollars, while full replacement went upwards of $15,000. This has left many owners stranded financially. But that's not all. The exhaust manifold bolts on the Hemi engines are notable for snapping. When this occurs, hot exhaust gas escapes, creating a harsh tractor-like sound, which can even melt nearby components. Replacing these manifolds can cost between $2,000 to $3,000 because of the special alloys and labor required. This is in addition to the infamous 8-speed automatic transmissions that many Rams carry during those years. In theory, this gearbox promises smooth shifting and better fuel economy. In reality, owners are faced with hesitation, hard shifts, and complete failures. The worst part is that the transmission rebuild ranges from $5,000 to $8,000. Oil leaks are also a common problem for RAM owners. Valve cover gaskets and oil pan seals often drip onto driveways, reducing oil levels and staining concrete. The repairs cost thousands of dollars thanks to labor-heavy designs. According to Consumer Reports, the 2013 Ram 1500 has an abysmal reliability score of 15 out of 100. Meanwhile, many compact cars from the 1980s scored higher. But from all we have mentioned, it's easy to see why online communities were formed to commiserate the Hemi truck. People shared horror and frustrated stories of the Hemi tick and their experiences with the truck. This attracted thousands of other people who had similar experiences. They share pictures of shredded camshafts and videos of engines knocking. All of this helped to spread the bad reputation the truck had gathered. In 2024, the company replaced the Hemi 5.8 with a turbocharged Hurricane 6 cylinders for efficiency. This was how the legendary status of Tell-He Hemi came to an end. The engine that many had grown up idolizing turned out to be a huge disappointment. It's no wonder mechanics are putting out the word for buyers to stay clear of these RAM models. Number 3. Ford F-150, 2004 to 2010. There is no nice way to say this, so we are just going to say it as it is. The 5.4-liter Triton V8 from the Ford F-150 has to be the most disappointing engine in truck history. Yes, we said it. Between 2004 and 2010, Ford decided to put this engine under the hood of thousands of its best-selling pickups. It turned out to be a fatal mistake. On paper, this engine is an engineering marvel. It was designed with flexibility in mind, meant to be installed across multiple vehicle lines, and can be used for both work duty and family hauling. It promised strength, efficiency, and the kind of durability that would make it worthy of the Ford name. However, buyers of the Ford F-150 ended up with one of the worst mechanical nightmares ever built by an American automaker. The Triton's reputation was so bad that seasoned mechanics signed deeply the moment they heard the words 5.4. Its weakest link was its spark plug design. Thin aluminum threads often failed, which made the plugs shoot out of cylinder heads like bullets. This in turn destroys threads and sometimes punch holes in the hoods. Repairs require expensive thread inserts and specialized tools. As such, the bills climb into thousands of dollars. But the spark plug is not the only issue with the Triton. Timing chain issues also plague these models of Tritons. Chains stretch far earlier than expected, throwing off timing, damaging valves, and even breaking off completely. When this happens, the engine breaks down completely, and replacing a full timing chain costs $4,000 to $6,000. That is, if the valves have not yet been damaged. If it has, then the owner would be looking at a $10,000 bill or more. Ignition coils often added another level of frustration. They burned out one after another, leaving owners stranded or limping home on reduced power. Oil leaks were also another battle. Add this to the fact that cooling systems often failed, leading to overheating. The frustration for owners of the Ford F-150 was high. But what made it even more unbearable was the fact that Fire knew about these problems early on, yet they persisted in using the Triton. Despite the complaints and lawsuits that poured in left, right, and center, Ford continued to produce these engines for years. This was a betrayal to loyal customers who joyfully bought trucks that promised reliability and efficiency but turned out to be a nightmare. Not surprisingly, some customers decided to give up. They chose to park their trucks and sought for other alternatives because the cost of repairs exceeded the value of the car. It was after the stories began to spread of abandoned F-150 sitting in driveways that Ford eventually got the message. By 2011, Ford had abandoned the Triton for better engines, and now mechanics are sounding the alarm, especially for those who have forgotten about the nightmare Triton was or are not even aware of in the first place. Number 2. The GMC Sierra 1500, 2007 to 2016. A mere glance at the GMC Sierra models of 2007 to 2016 would make you think that it is the perfect choice for buyers who want refinements with their muscle. GMC marketed it as the civilized version of the Silverado, offering an upscale feel, chrome accents, and interior features perfect for a family. Owners felt it was a truck that stood apart from the Silverado line, but had the same dependability. Perhaps it would have been if not for the engine system that sat under the hood of the 2007 to 2016 models. This engine drained wallets, frustrated owners, and made loyal customers quickly part ways with their trucks. The worst part is that it was the exact same system, which was used in the Silverado that customers had already complained about. We are talking about the active fuel management system, which was supposed to save gas but ended up becoming a disappointment. The very same issues that inflicted the Silverado also inflicted the Sierra. Owners faced rough running, constant misfires, and a ticking sound that grew with each passing mile. And just like with the Silverado, the repairs cost thousands of dollars. A total engine replacement, for instance, cost more than $15,000. GMC tried to fix issues like the oil leakage by releasing software updates in tiny oil pan deflectors. However, these quick fixes solved nothing. It's honestly baffling why GMC felt it was a good idea to use the same system which didn't work out for the Silverado for the Sierra models. Perhaps it has to do with cutting down costs. However, it was customers who had to pay the price and felt cheated from their purchases. Thankfully, after years of complaints, GMC finally revised the system and released newer models in 2016. These later trucks featured improvements that made the technology more reliable. Today, many Sierra owners have little to no complaints. However, the years between 2007 and 2016 were terrible for Sierra truck owners. As such, many are still in distrust of Sierra trucks. Number 1. Nissan Titan XD Diesel, 2016 to 2019. It's quite normal for brands to take a gamble on a product after all life itself is a risk. Sometimes these gambles turn into a crazy success, pushing the brand to the next level. But there are times when a gamble fails woefully and the product becomes a flop. This is exactly what happened with the Nissan Titan XD, with the Cummins 5.0-liter diesel engine produced between 2016 to 2019. Nissan decided to experiment with the Nissan Big half-ton plus pickup and a small version of the legendary Cummins diesel. The company brought these two together to build the Nissan Titan XD. Nissan marketed it as the best of both worlds, a truck with the refinement of a light-duty pickup and the pulling power of a heavy-duty workhorse. Buyers thought they could tow horse trailers, haul heavy equipment with ease, and cruise the highways with confidence. But their expectations fell very short. The Titan XD diesel was a failure, plain and simple. The Cummins 5.0 liters for starters was poorly adapted from European standards. Worse, it was saddled with failing emission systems, clogged exhaust gas valves, faulty diesel exhaust systems, and soot-chalked filters. Turbochargers were another nightmare. Owners reported turbos seizing or even shattering before the odometer hits 80,000 miles, and replacing it could cost about $4,000 or more. If you add this to the $8,000 price tag for a complete emission system overhaul, the bill ballooned to $12,000 to $15,000, which is 25% more than the original price of the truck. Imagine that. When Nissan finally discontinued the engine after 3 years, the resale value collapsed drastically, leaving many owners with trucks they could not use. With all this, it's pretty clear what the lesson is. Don't fall for adverts and promises on paper. Before you buy a truck, do your research and learn from the past mistakes of former owners. Because the truth is, if you buy a wrong truck, you will be drained both financially and mentally.